If you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s and thinking about dating younger women, you need a serious reality check. Pause right here because before we dive deeper, I want you to breathe for a moment. This isn't going to be a fairy tale fantasy. This is going to be the truth most older men never hear until the damage is already done. I'm about to drop some harsh truths that most older men only figure out when it's too late. And if you're watching this, listening closely, or even slightly curious, then understand one thing. These insights don't just inform you, they protect you, they position you, they prepare you, especially the last one. Because the final truth will challenge everything you think you know about dating younger women, and it will make you rethink your entire strategy. So take a deep breath, sit up, and lean in. Because once you hear these truths, you will never approach younger women the same way again. And pay close attention, especially to the last one. These insights can transform your dating game and help you win over those younger women, but only if you're prepared for what comes with it. The first harsh and brutal truth is that younger women aren't looking to settle down with you. Not in the way you might hope, not in the way you've imagined during those quiet nights when the loneliness creeps in. Why would they want to settle when their adventure has just begun? You might not like this. You might even feel it's unfair, but it's real. I know this is hard for many older men to swallow, especially those who have finally reached a stage in life where they're stable, mature, emotionally available, and ready for something meaningful. But here's the psychological punch. She isn't in the same chapter of life as you. She's still exploring, discovering herself, building her identity. She might like your presence, your confidence, your maturity, but long-term commitment, for most younger women, that's not even on the radar. While there are exceptions, many younger women are in a phase where they are exploring themselves, learning about their preferences, discovering the world, and enjoying their independence. Ask yourself honestly, are you looking for a partner or is she looking for an experience? Because her quest for self-discovery often means her emotional GPS is still recalculating. She's not following a straight road toward marriage or lifelong commitment. She's wandering, tasting life, building memories, and yes, that includes relationships. Could her quest for self-discovery mean a detour from the aisle? Absolutely. Many of them are more interested in casual dating, excitement, adventure, or short-term fun rather than settling down right away. And here's the hidden truth most older men don't realize. If you want to date a younger woman, you need to manage your expectations. Not lower them, not kill them, just align them with reality. Because the relationship will last longer and feel better when you're not building fantasies in your head that don't match her reality. Understand where she's coming from. Understand what stage of life she's in, and you will avoid disappointment or even heartbreak. Truth number 9, age matters. Think age doesn't matter? Think again. Whoever said age is just a number clearly wasn't in the dating game or they were lying to themselves. Age doesn't just matter. It's the headline act in the circus of dating across decades. Sure, chemistry can be electric. Yes, attraction can cross years. But the real question is, can love really smooth over the wrinkles of time? The truth is, age differences bring a kaleidoscope of unique challenges that romantic cliches never prepare you for. Let's be brutally honest. Mismatched interests, different energy levels, different emotional timelines, life goals on opposite ends of the spectrum. Ever tried explaining what a rotary phone is to someone who texts with emojis, GIFs, and memes? That's just the tiny funny tip of the iceberg. The deeper you get, the more these differences show up. She wants adventure. You want stability. She thrives on chaos. You appreciate peace. She's building her life. You've already lived multiple chapters. Misunderstandings and challenges are the norms, not the exceptions. And they don't always appear on day one. Sometimes they hit you months later when you've already invested your time, your emotions, and your expectations. Dating younger requires something most men underestimate: adaptability, understanding, emotional intelligence, especially for older men who must learn to navigate a younger woman's modern world, her fantasies, her insecurities, her lifestyle, her cultural reality. Is it a deal breaker? No, not at all. but it's a reality you must acknowledge and respect, because the more you understand these gaps, the more you can bridge them successfully and build a relationship that actually works. Truth number 8, physical attraction isn't enough. So, you've got the charm of George Clooney and the bank account of Jeff Bezos, but is that all it takes? Most older men enter the dating game with younger women thinking, if I look good, stay fit, smell expensive, and have my financial life sorted, she'll naturally stay. But here's the cold, unfiltered truth. Physical attraction is not enough. Not for her, not for any meaningful connection, not for long-term emotional investment. Sure, you may have a lot to offer: success, confidence, experience, stability, emotional calmness. These are powerful traits, but without a deeper connection, it's like building a mansion on sand. It looks impressive until the first storm arrives. Younger women, like everyone else, crave something that cannot be bought, faked, or replaced: emotional intimacy, mutual respect, shared values, psychological connection, feeling seen, heard, and understood. A younger woman doesn't want a walking wallet. She doesn't want a luxury experience with no emotional soul underneath. And she definitely doesn't want a man who hides behind material things because he doesn't know how to connect. If your relationship with her is only based on physical attraction or material things, it's as lasting as her Snapchat story. Beautiful for a moment, gone in 24 hours. Physical appeal can get you in the door, yes, but emotional intelligence keeps you in the room. That's why it's crucial to build a relationship that goes beyond the surface. Think of physical attraction as the opening scene of a movie. But would you watch a 2-hour film if the story was empty? Neither will she. And this is where many older men misunderstand younger women deeply. She doesn't want just a handsome older guy. She wants a man who gives her a feeling she can't get from boys her age: stability without control, attraction without ego, confidence without arrogance, emotional intelligence without stiffness, masculinity without toxicity. If you can combine maturity with meaningful emotional presence, that is what makes her stay. Truth number 7, not a father figure. Ever thought about playing the daddy role? Big mistake. This one. This is where a lot of older men fail without even realizing it. Younger women are not looking for a second father. They don't want a man who knows better, or a man who talks down to them, or a man who hides behind guidance that feels more like policing. And here's the truth bomb you didn't see coming. If you think playing the father figure will make you her knight in shining armor, think again. It's not just unattractive, it's repelling. It's a myth as outdated as dial-up internet. Sure, you've got the protective instinct of a lion. Sure, you've been through more storms than she has. Sure, you want to shield her from the chaos of her own youth. But remember, she's not looking for a zookeeper. She doesn't want someone who cages her, controls her, or supervises her decisions. She wants a man, not a manager, a partner, not a parent, a lover, not a life coach disguised as a boyfriend. Yes, younger women value guidance, experience, emotional stability, support, maturity, but they also want to be seen as equal partners with their own decisions, desires, and direction. If you take on too much of a paternal role, it will create an emotional imbalance. And that imbalance becomes resentment. Because here's the psychological truth: the moment she feels controlled, even slightly, she emotionally pulls away. And once she disconnects emotionally, no amount of money, maturity, charm, or wisdom can pull her back. When dating a younger woman, you must find a balance between providing guidance without suffocating, being mature without being controlling, being protective without being possessive, being supportive without taking over her life. Respect her autonomy, respect her independence, respect her individuality. Because the moment she feels like you've turned into a father substitute, she'll choose freedom over you every single time. And here's the plot twist most older men don't see coming. When you stop trying to be her father, you become far more attractive as her man. Truth number 6, maturity isn't guaranteed. Think age is the ultimate badge of maturity. Time to burst that bubble. Most older men assume that because they have lived through decades of life, the younger woman must by default be behind them in emotional wisdom. But maturity is not measured in candles on a birthday cake. It's measured in emotional experiences. And some younger women have lived through enough emotional storms to rival older men. Just because she's got fewer candles on her birthday cake doesn't mean she's playing catch-up in the wisdom department. Age teaches lessons, yes, but life teaches harder ones. You'll meet younger women who have survived heartbreaks, experienced trauma, built careers from the ground up, taken care of themselves for years, raised siblings, handled responsibilities earlier than most adults. Sometimes you'll find younger women who have their act together more than some older guys, and that is a truth many men don't want to hear. But here's the twist. Emotional maturity varies widely. Some younger women are incredibly grounded, while others are emotionally unpredictable, inconsistent, or unstable, not because they're immature, but because they're still growing into themselves. So, when you date a younger woman, you're not just navigating age, you're navigating emotional development. Older men often assume they can lead or guide. But the real challenge is figuring out, does she have the emotional intelligence to match your emotional expectations? Because if you're a stable, calm, collected man in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, and she's navigating mood swings, impulsive decisions, identity changes, or emotional stress, it can feel like trying to anchor a ship in a storm. But here's another truth. Some younger women will surprise you with maturity beyond their years. Some older men will shock you with immaturity that never left. So, the real question isn't how young is she, it's how emotionally aware is she? Can she communicate? Does she understand responsibility? Does she take accountability for her actions? Because emotional maturity, not age, determines whether a relationship thrives or collapses. Truth number 5, social perceptions. If you date a young girl, you're surely under the microscope. And yes, they're all watching. This is the truth older men often underestimate or pretend doesn't matter. People will judge you. Society will notice the age difference and whispers will follow you. You may think, I don't care what people say. But when the stares start, when the comments begin, when friends raise eyebrows, you start to realize the pressure is real. Your family might question your intentions. Her friends might question her judgment. Complete strangers may assume the worst. And this is where emotional strength becomes essential. Yes, they're all watching. Some will admire you, some will laugh, some will criticize, some will secretly envy you, some will say things behind your back, some will say it to your face. The age gap becomes a conversation, a rumor, a spectacle, an opinion nobody asked for, but everyone gives. People will judge you. Society will notice the age difference, and you may be criticized by friends, relatives, and even strangers. This can be tough and honestly draining. But here's the psychological truth. If you cannot handle outside judgment, the relationship won't survive. Dating a younger woman means developing a thick skin, unshakable confidence, emotional stability, self-belief, the ability to ignore noise. Because when you're confronted with such situations, you need to remember something powerful. It's your relationship, not theirs. They don't feel what she feels. They don't see the connection you share. They don't understand the dynamic. They don't experience your private moments, your communication, your chemistry. All they see is the surface, but you live the story. So if you want a relationship like this to work, you must learn to walk past the stairs with your head held high. Because at the end of the day, what people think doesn't matter. But what you and she build together, that is what defines the relationship. Truth number 4, emotional roller coasters. You can't handle her emotional roller coasters, and not because you're weak or inexperienced, but because you've lived long enough to value peace, stability, and calmness. However, the younger woman on the other end of this relationship, she's often navigating a completely different emotional landscape. As an older man, you may be more emotionally stable due to your experience in dealing with tough situations and challenges in your life. You've been through breakups, responsibilities, pressure, failures, success, and over time, you've learned how to regulate your emotions. But younger women, they are sometimes more susceptible to emotional ups and downs. And no, this isn't an insult, this is psychology. Younger women deal with identity shifts, hormonal fluctuations, overwhelming expectations, career uncertainty, insecurity, social comparison, pressure from family, the fear of figuring life out, and that cocktail of emotion can hit hard. These emotional fluctuations can be due to a variety of factors such as life experiences, hormonal changes, or the stress of finding her way in life. And here's where things get complicated. What she finds exciting, you may find exhausting. What she feels deeply, you may feel lightly. What breaks her down, you might see as not a big deal. It's not because she's dramatic. It's because she's in a stage of life where emotions hit with full force. And for you, as an older man, patience becomes your most valuable weapon. Empathy becomes your superpower. Emotional intelligence becomes your anchor. You cannot meet her emotional highs with frustration. You cannot meet her emotional lows with silence because emotional roller coasters require calmness, stability, listening, grounding, reassurance, balanced responses. Patience, empathy, and effective communication are key to dealing with these emotional fluctuations and maintaining a stable relationship. And here's the deeper truth. If you cannot stabilize her storm, she will feel unsafe. And when a woman feels unsafe, she disconnects. But if you can handle her emotional intensity without losing your own balance, she will see you not just as an older man, but as a rare man. A man who is calm when she is chaotic. A man who doesn't panic when she spirals. A man who holds the emotional ground she cannot yet stand on. That's where attraction deepens. That's where respect forms. That's where connection becomes powerful. Truth number 3, financial expectations. Think you can buy her love? Think again. Money can complicate relationships, especially relationships with an age difference, because where there's an older man and a younger woman, assumptions follow automatically. There's often an expectation, not always spoken, but silently present, that the older man is the breadwinner and provider. This expectation can create pressure, imbalance, misunderstandings, miscommunication, unspoken resentment, and many men don't realize this until they're already knee-deep in stress. Money becomes a silent force in the relationship. Some younger women expect financial support, some don't. Some appreciate gifts but don't want dependency. Some want independence and equality. But you must understand the psychology behind this. If you give too much financially, she may rely on you. If you give too little, she may feel undervalued. If you spend impulsively, she may get used to a lifestyle you cannot maintain. If you restrict spending, she may think you're controlling. Money is a delicate topic, especially in age gap relationships. This is why you need honest conversations about finances early on. Not in a rude way, not in a transactional way, but in a mature, clear, respectful way. You must ensure both parties are comfortable, boundaries are clear, expectations are aligned. No hidden assumptions linger beneath the surface because when money becomes the unspoken force, misunderstandings grow quietly and dangerously. Remember that transparency and mutual respect in financial matters is crucial to avoid misunderstandings and resentment. And here's the psychological reality. If she only values your money, the relationship becomes fragile, easily broken, easily replaced. But if she values your presence, your mindset, your leadership, your maturity, then money is simply a benefit, not the foundation. The strongest age gap relationships are built not on wealth, but on clarity, communication, and emotional equilibrium. Truth number 2, future plans. Think you're done with diaper duty? She might just be getting started. This is one of the most uncomfortable, brutally honest truths that many older men avoid until it hits them in the face. And by then, it's too late. Discussions about family and kids can turn from sweet to sour faster than milk left out in the sun. What starts as a cute conversation can quickly spiral into a serious reality check. You might be at a stage in life where you're finally ready to relax. You've built your career, you've raised your kids, you've worked hard, you're ready for peace, but she might want marriage, a family, children, a future that includes starting from scratch. While you may already have children or not want to have any more, she may be standing at the very beginning of that journey. This is where your timelines collide. This is where fantasy meets reality. And this is where many men get blindsided. Because biologically, emotionally, and socially, younger women often still see motherhood as part of their life blueprint. And if you're an older man thinking, "I've done all that already," her mind might be thinking, "But I haven't." These conversations can be difficult, but pretending the issue doesn't exist will turn quiet tension into explosive conflict later. These conversations are necessary to ensure that your and her wishes and expectations for the future are aligned. You cannot avoid the topic. You cannot postpone it. You cannot sugarcoat it. A younger woman wants clarity. She wants certainty. She wants direction. And you owe it to both of you to be honest about what you can realistically give. Open, honest communication about these issues will help you overcome potential conflicts and build a future together, or understand early on if the relationship is built on incompatible life paths. The worst heartbreak doesn't come from lack of love. It comes from mismatched futures. Truth number one, power dynamics. Wake up and smell the coffee. Your wallet doesn't entitle you to control. This is the truth most older men need to hear, but almost none want to accept. Power dynamics can make or break your relationship, because in age gap dynamics, there is often a silent, unspoken assumption that the older partner has more power. Sometimes financially, sometimes emotionally, sometimes through experience, sometimes through life stability. But here's the psychological dagger. If you use that power to control her, even in subtle ways, the relationship will rot from the inside. Why should she play by your rules just because you're footing the bills? Why should she silence herself just because you're older? Why should she adjust her lifestyle because you're experienced? Younger women may admire your strength, your confidence, your guidance. But the moment your presence becomes dominance, she will rebel emotionally, silently, and eventually physically. This is not the 1950s. Younger women today are strong, independent, ambitious. They want a partner, not a commander. This can lead to imbalances and misunderstandings if not handled with care and open communication. The balance you must aim for is simple: leadership without control, guidance without ego, experience without superiority, generosity without entitlement, strength without dominance. Let her voice be heard. Let her needs matter. Let her have a say in decisions. Let her individuality exist without feeling overshadowed. Ensure both of you are on the same footing, because the moment she feels powerless, you lose her emotionally long before you lose her physically, and emotional loss is the kind you never recover from. Bonus tip: younger women are still figuring themselves out. Younger women are still figuring themselves out. This is the silent truth that explains everything. Understand this, and you'll navigate the relationship better. Younger women's careers, interests, values, dreams, and even attitudes toward relationships often change and fluctuate rapidly, not because they're unstable, not because they're confused, but because they are in the most transformative years of their lives. Their identity is still forming. Their goals are still shifting. Their experiences are still shaping who they will become. Everyone goes through this self-discovery phase, but for younger women, it's often amplified. And with that comes change, unpredictability, emotional waves, sudden shifts in priorities, new ambitions, evolving desires. It's part of their journey. It's natural, it's human. But you, as the older man, must decide if you can handle that movement. Can you handle being with someone who is still evolving? Can you handle the unpredictability? Can you handle the moments where she doesn't even understand herself? Can you handle the growth phase that never stops? Because this process can bring changes and instability that will affect your relationship. But if you can handle these truths, if you can stay grounded while she transforms, if you can provide stability without controlling her, if you can guide without dominating, if you can love without expectations, you're on your way to a rewarding relationship. Not perfect, not easy, but real. If you made it this far, you're already ahead of most men. Most older guys live in denial, chasing fantasies, refusing to face the uncomfortable truths that shape real attraction. But you chose to understand the psychology behind it, and that alone puts you in a completely different league. Remember this: younger women aren't just attracted to looks or money or confidence. They're drawn to men who understand themselves, men who know how to handle emotions, challenges, power dynamics, and the reality of age gap relationships. And if you can do that, you don't just become attractive, you become unforgettable.